Hello, folks. Welcome back. This is Chris in Central Pennsylvania, and it seems like it's time once again to provide some clarity on what's going on here because there's a lot of misinformation out there. Again, also people jumping the gun and freaking out. First off, once again, as of this date, early morning hours of 13 February 2025, there is no program for refugee resettlement from South Africa to the United States. The president authorized this, and it all began on February 7th. But a news headline in News 24 today says U.S. departments prioritize relief relocation for Afrikaner victims of unjust racial discrimination. And presumably this is an effort to inform people what's going on. But I've been informing people of this for days, and they're just writing the story now, which is getting some people up in a tizzy. So let's calm down, take a deep breath, and let me get you up to date with where we are. The only information thus far is the president's executive order from the 7th of February, 2025, entitled Addressing Egregious Actions of the Republic of South Africa. Now, that executive order, which I've read out many times on my live broadcast and prepared videos, calls for the suspension, orders the suspension of foreign aid immediately to South Africa. It doesn't include emergency life-saving aid like antiretrovirals. That's fake news. Don't believe it. And that was never the case. People lying to you in South Africa and telling you the programs are shut down, that's because they shut them down. We never shut the flow of money down. That money will continue until the end of this fiscal year, which is 30 September. After that, there'll be no more money because President Trump won't approve it going forward for South Africa, at least under the current conditions. The other part of this executive order called for the promotion of resettlement of Afrikaners as refugees to America. Now, the term Afrikaner was not defined, and as I've explained, that can include people who are black and colored who are culturally Afrikaners. So it wasn't clear, but a lot of racist publications in South Africa and racist politicians and racist bigots and fools in academia from South Africa here in America have been running around and saying, wow, only white people. That's not what the order says. And if you think Afrikaners are only white, then you're an uninformed bigot. That is available at thewhitehouse.gov. The link is below this video, the executive order. That started the ball rolling. That was a Friday night. I went live within a couple hours to break that news to South Africa and the world. On the 10th of February, finally, on the Monday, the U.S. Embassy issued a fact sheet. Now, that fact sheet was essentially everything that Donald Trump said because they had no authority to change anything, but it did add clarity to something that I had pointed out. And I told people to calm down and expect that the term Afrikaner would likely be extended to minorities, to include Indians, coloreds, and white South Africans. In fact, that fact sheet has added clarity, and it now says, instead of Afrikaner, it says disfavored minorities, which includes all the people I just mentioned. The link to that fact sheet at the U.S. Embassy website in South Africa is located below this video. The next thing to cap, and the reason why I'm doing this video, is that on the 12th of February, on their X account, the United States Embassy, South Africa, posted a graphic which simply explained that they were reviewing things and didn't add any new information. But a lot of people are in a tizzy thinking this is something new. It's not new. It's just a clarification of what's going on. Until the United States Department of State and the Homeland Security Department issue policy guidance on how this will be enacted, nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows. We can have expectations based on how refugee programs work in the past, but usually refugees are coming from war zones, typically, not exclusive, but typically, oftentimes with no identification and nothing but the clothing on their back, escaping from having been, dying in a conflict. And all sorts of things take place there. Frequently in those cases, they have to register with the United Nations because there's usually a United Nations mission there processing refugees or internally displaced persons inside of countries. So that is not applicable here. We will have to wait and see. So take a deep breath, relax, and do not listen to the barracks lawyers who are telling this, including the lawyers going on television in South Africa telling people falsehoods about this. They're misleading you. This is a refugee program. So media and YouTube content creators are talking about this taking 4 to 5 months for you to get asylum. They're incorrect. This is not an asylum program. You cannot apply for asylum in South Africa. It doesn't work that way. You can only apply for asylum inside of America according to U.S. law. This is not asylum. It will not take 4 to 5 months. I can tell you how long it's going to take. It could take 4 to 5 days. It could take 4 to 5 weeks. It depends when the government puts a program together, what the conditions are, if they put a limit on the number of people that can come. It doesn't appear that there are going to be any limits based on the way the president wrote the executive order. And so that could open up the floodgates. And this is very different than asylum. So do not listen to anyone who's telling you this is asylum. It's not asylum. It clearly says refugee right in the executive order in the portion where it says refugee resettlement and other humanitarian considerations. That's section 4. It tells the Secretary of State and Secretary of Homeland Security to take appropriate steps consistent with law to prioritize humanitarian relief, including admission and resettlement through an existing program, the United States Refugee Admissions Program for Afrikaners in South Africa who are victims of unjust racial discrimination. And the State Department has already altered that to say disfavored minority groups. An additional reason I made this video is that there's already rumors circulating, people misleading, and this is problematic. The misleading information, which the State Department will likely have to refute, is that the embassy's website has a travel advisory on it. That wasn't there the other day. Nonsense. I follow the U.S. Embassy website in South Africa, and this travel advisory dates from November 7th of 2024. December, January, February. Over 90 days ago. And it's a travel warning, a level 2 travel warning telling people to exercise more caution because of a surge in kidnappings in South Africa. It has nothing to do with the events unfolding right now and President Trump's executive order. Nothing whatsoever to do with it. This is a travel advisory for American citizens in South Africa, traveling there or residing there. That's all it is. It has nothing to do with the current events. Do not listen to false information and wild rumors. That's all too common in South Africa. So that is the situation. Do not listen to people that don't know what they're talking to. You don't believe me? You can look these things up. I give you the receipts. The link to each of these documents is in the video below this video, in the description, I should say, below this video. So please calm down. I'll keep you informed as best I can. Once again, this is not an endorsement for people to apply for refugee status to come to America. It's not telling you not to do it. I'm not in favor. I'm not against. I am heartsore and heartbroken that people feel the need to leave South Africa, but I understand the circumstances many go through. Unfortunately, I've interviewed the survivors of farm attacks, the families who are left behind, the pain, those who've been denied promotions and jobs based solely on their skin color, the abhorrent racism that's been taking place in South Africa since the ascendancy of the African National Congress, who simply have not only repeated the egregious mistakes of the National Party, but made them even more permanent, entrenched, and just morally wrong. Anyway, folks, please feel free to share this video, let people know about it. And again, you don't have to believe me. There's the links. You can go read for yourself. Don't read into it. But people see something new. They think something's happened. There's a program. There is not yet. As of this hour, 3:23 a.m. on the East Coast of the United States, which makes it 10:23 in the morning in South Africa. I will say this. The U.S. government needs to get off the stick and get something out there quickly, but they must do it thoroughly. Otherwise, there'll be all kinds of problems. Anyway, folks, have a good day. God bless.